Hey guys, in this video, we are talking about top aerospace and defense ERP systems in 2025. Let's dive in.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
My name is Sam Gupta. I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent digital transformation consulting firm. We help our clients with digital transformation strategy, system selection, change management. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is the top aerospace and defense ERP systems in 2025. Before we look at the list, let's look at some of the variables, how we define aerospace and defense. Number one, this is the list of the products and not necessarily of the companies or the publishers that are publishing these products. As part of this list, we are considering companies of all sizes, whether they are going to be small, large, etc. Sometimes the list may come across as all over the place, so pay close attention to the commentary. I'll be describing each systems where they fit in which size segment. So just because they are included as part of the list, or just because a system is going to be number one, does not mean that it is going to be fit for your size. So pay close attention to the commentary as I discuss each systems. Now, even though this is very specific for aerospace and defense, inside aerospace and defense, you may have many different business models. For example, OEMs is a very different business model than your T1 and T2 suppliers. For supplier, the business processes, the business model that they are going to have is going to be very different, even though they all are serving aerospace and defense. And in general, the ERP system needs are going to be very different for each of these business models. So again, what you need to do is you need to pay very close attention to the commentary. That's where I will be talking about where each system has been successful in terms of the business model as well as size. So again, for this business models, everything that falls under aerospace and defense, that is going to be plastic, any sort of metal parts, service companies, consulting companies, any sort of capabilities that they are going to require from the A&D compliance perspective, or they require WBS centric project management capabilities, or AS9100 DACA compliance. All of these are going to be part of this list. So the criteria that we used to compile this list is product share, acquisition strategy focused on aerospace and defense. In general, if they are acquiring a lot of products focused on A&D, we give them a positive mark for those systems because they are committed for A&D as opposed to the other verticals that they might be serving. The product roadmap, community, ecosystem, win rate, technology strategy, as well as investors. So we consider all of these variables to compile this list. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is Dalmia Works. And Dalmia Works is the old IQMS product. In general, IQMS product did really well with the A&D sort of manufacturers, as well as when you look at the plastic-centric suppliers. That's where it had a lot of deep capabilities for the A&D vertical. Some strengths to keep in mind from Dalmia Works perspective is that they are going to have much deeper capabilities overall from the last mile perspective for A&D vertical. And then some limitations to keep in mind overall from the Dalmia Works perspective is limited visibility into roadmap. The ecosystem does not have as much momentum overall as what we are seeing with some of the other ERP systems. It has tight alignment with SolidWorks, etc., because it is owned by the same company. So even though it is a great fit for the aerospace and defense verticals, it just does not have as much momentum from the technology innovation. For example, let's say if you look at any sort of AI first capability or cloud native capabilities, that's where the gap is with Dalmia Works at this point. So that's number 10. Now, number 9 on our list is Deltek. Now, Deltek, when you compare this with other systems, for example, Dalmia Works and Deltek, these are two completely different systems. For example, let's say if you are going to be in that government contracting space, you are going to get a lot more capabilities as part of the product, that kind of data that Deltek is going to support, the kind of CPQ products that they are going to have. None of the other systems or the vendors are going to have that. But let's say if you are going to be in the core manufacturing, then Dalmia Works is probably going to be a better fit and some of the other systems. But again, Deltek is designed for those project management centric organizations. In general, a lot of A&D companies are going to fall into that bucket. But for the most part, when you are going to be in that government contracting space, that's where Deltek really shines. Now, strength to keep in mind is the last mile capabilities for GovCon for A&D contractors and the A&D specific benchmarking data. And sometimes that benchmarking data could be beneficial for planning, etc. But again, depending upon how critical that is for you, how critical that is in your micro industry, that's where you need to do a little bit of assessment whether you care for that or not. And then DACA compliance, if that is a critical success factor on other systems, you would either require add-on or substantial consulting effort to be able to build those DACA workflows, which can be very thick in general, and they do require a lot of consulting effort. Limitations to keep in mind is the roadmap is just not as clear. In general, it's not as diverse. The private equity that owns Deltek at this point of time, they are not as big as the other systems, and the ecosystem is going to be limited as well. So that's number 9. Number 8 on our list is Rootstock. And Rootstock is ideal for SMB A&D companies. This is especially critical for companies that care for Salesforce experience. And one of the advantages that Rootstock has, even though they might not have as many logos compared to other systems on this list, their advantage is going to be that they, number one, are getting all of those R&D dollars from Salesforce perspective and the innovation that Salesforce is doing. Rootstock is going to be the first beneficiary. In general, for AI first systems, you are going to require a lot more investment that the smaller companies or the smaller private equities may not be able to afford. So that's a huge plus for Rootstock. And then they were always cloud native. So overall, technically, they were far more superior. Some limitations to keep in mind from Rootstock perspective, they might not be as functionally rich as some of the other products, but depending upon whether you are going to care for those capabilities or not, there are always going to be workarounds with any systems, but depending upon how bad those workarounds are going to fire back. So that's where you need to do much deeper assessment of your specific needs that you are going to require and how they will be implemented in the system. And overall, from the suite and integration perspective as well, they are not going to be as complete. So you would require a lot more add-ons. And ecosystem, they have done a wonderful job in signing a lot of different big SIs, just like Infor. So they have a lot more momentum in general in their ecosystem, but it might not be as big as some of the other systems that we have on this list. So that's number 8. Number 7 on our list is Infor Cloud Suite Industrial Sightline. And Infor Cloud Suite Industrial Sightline was always, it had presence with the SMB A&D companies, but overall, when you look at the product, some of the A&D specific capabilities, you will need to spend a lot more in building that, even though they are going to claim that they have last mile capabilities, but still you would require a lot more consulting effort to be able to enable all of those compliance requirements. For example, when you are going to need AS9100 or DACA compliance, etc., those are going to require a lot more consulting effort, even though on platform it does have the technical capabilities for you or the consulting company that you are going to hire to be able to build on the core platform, but they are not going to be as pre-baked as with some of the other systems. But the strength of Infor Cloud Suite Industrial is going to be that it's going to be a complete suite overall from the PLM as well as the other integrations that are going to be there with Infor Cloud Suite Industrial. The limitations to keep in mind is the whole financial reporting experience is slightly more disconnected, but that you are going to find with a lot of legacy systems that do not provide the financial reporting experience as part of the core. And again, you don't necessarily have those last mile capabilities from the A&D perspective that you might find with the other systems. And the user interface is not going to be as modern compared to other systems. So that those are going to be some of the limitations. And that's number 7. Number 6 on our list is Oracle Cloud ERP. And Oracle Cloud ERP would fall under that generalized category. So even though it is going to be a great for those global A&D large companies, but when you talk about the last mile capabilities, those will require a lot more consulting effort. In general, the implementation is probably going to be expensive, and that's where it might not be fit for the SMB centric A&D companies. You might not have as much tailored and flavored experience that you would get with some of the other systems on this list. So that's number 6. Number 5 on our list is SAP S/4HANA. And SAP S/4HANA is a very comparable system, just like Oracle Cloud ERP. It is designed for those large A&D companies when they are trying to consolidate all of those global workloads in one system. When you are going to have that need, then SAP S/4HANA is going to be a great system. But if you're looking for a suite that is going to have all of your integrations, etc., then these systems might not be the best fit for those mid-market companies as well as smaller companies that are going to be on budget. In general, the implementation is going to be far more expensive, even with SAP S/4HANA as well, just like your Oracle Cloud ERP. The main difference between SAP S/4HANA, Oracle Cloud ERP, from the A&D perspective is they are fairly comparable system. SAP S/4HANA may have a little bit more. It might be a lot more proven in the A&D vertical compared to Oracle Cloud ERP. That is the only advantage that you have from the SAP S/4HANA perspective. And the suite is going to be a lot more complete based on the recent acquisitions that they have done. So that's number 5. Number 4 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O, and this is the flagship product from Microsoft. It has a lot more logos in general in the A&D space, just because the kind of alignment that you are going to have from the product perspective, especially if you talk about the project management capabilities. Microsoft products were always strong in those capabilities. Some of the strengths to keep in mind is and again, Microsoft Dynamics is going to be going to have very similar positioning at some of the generalized product, where you are not going to find as deep last mile capabilities from the OEM, but they are going to be provided by third-party providers. In general, when you compare these generalized systems, for example, Microsoft, SAP, as well as Oracle, among these three, Microsoft Dynamics is probably not going to be as proven with the larger workloads. SAP and Oracle are going to have a lot more installations when you talk about Fortune 500 companies, $1 billion plus companies. Among those two are going to have a lot more installations. Microsoft may not have as many, but overall, from the Microsoft perspective, they are ahead in terms of their cloud capabilities of the cloud product compared to the other two. But again, these three are positioned for very large companies, either upper mid-market, lower enterprise, or upper enterprise companies. So that is number 4 for Microsoft Dynamics 365 FM. Number 3 on our list is IFS. And IFS does really well in MRO, airline, large OEMs. That's where the product is really strong, especially when you look at capabilities such as your project manufacturing or project management. So this is a very similar product as Dell Tech, but IFS is going to be much deeper in terms of their manufacturing capabilities. They are also going to have strengths from the EAM plus field service workflows. And in general, for the aerospace companies, especially the ones that are going to have really large assets, they require a lot more maintenance in general. That's where your IFS product is a great fit. They are also technically superior compared to some of the other legacy systems that we have on the list. But so far, we have not seen as much AI excitement in IFS portfolio compared to the other systems. Some limitations to keep in mind is it's a very large product in general, so it might not be the best fit for SMBs. It might be overwhelming, expensive. The implementation might be trickier as well. And even though their North American presence has been growing, it's not as much as the other systems on this list. And IFS system is not going to be as diverse either. So those are some of the limitations, and that's number 3. Now, number 2 on our list is Epicor Kinetic. And Epicor Kinetic was always very strong among A&D manufacturers, especially SMB. Now, the strengths to keep in mind from the Epicor Kinetic perspective is it was designed for formal manufacturing processes. And in general, in the A&D verticals, the engineering processes that you are going to have, they are going to be far more formalized compared to the other ecosystems, and that's why Epicor always mandated that. So Epicor is definitely very strong for A&D verticals. In general, their inventory is very complex as well, which is what is needed, especially when you look at metal-centric verticals or metal-centric suppliers inside aerospace. For them, Epicor Kinetic is going to be their look and feel is very similar to Microsoft. So if you care for that Microsoft experience, Epicor Kinetic could be one of the products that you should be including as part of your evaluation. Now, limitations to keep in mind is their global financial operations. The layers are not as rich compared to the other systems. And overall, from the field service and quality perspective, the product design is slightly different. It is not going to provide as embedded experience for the quality as well as field service that you are going to find with the other products on this list. So depending upon what you care for, if you care for embedded field service experience, then this product might not be the best fit, but that is not going to be applicable for every vertical out there. And the ecosystem and marketplace, it's not as strong as some of the other products on this list. So that's number 2. Number 1 on our list is Infor Cloud Suite LN. And in general, the major difference between Infor Cloud Suite LN as well as some of the other prescriptive systems that we have seen on this list, if you compare this with either Epicor Kinetic or Infor Cloud Suite Industrial or IQMS, the major difference is their core manufacturing processes are going to be much richer, and they are really designed for that mixed mode manufacturing, even though the other systems are going to claim that they have the mixed mode manufacturing capabilities as well, but they are not going to be as rich as what you are going to find inside Infor Cloud Suite LN. It supports all of those modes equally well compared to the other systems that we have on this list. As well as the Infor Cloud Suite LN is designed for global operations, especially when you talk about the real plant floor operations, when you have to run the global MRP workload, when you have operational synergies between entities. That's where Infor Cloud Suite LN is a great fit. Some limitations to keep in mind is not as diverse as some of the horizontal platform. The user experience is not as modern, and that's what we hear from users. So sometimes there could be adoption issues because of that, and the ecosystem is going to be weaker, as well as their marketplace is weaker as well, even though they have done substantial work there. So that's number 1. If you enjoyed this video, we are going to publish a report that is going to have much more details, especially if you're curious about what changes have we made in this particular year, or any changes that were done with any of these vendors. Again, it's very hard to cover that as part of the video, so download that report. You are going to find those details there. These videos are published on a weekly basis on our YouTube channel, so you might want to subscribe to that. And then this podcast is also available in the audio form, so if you prefer that, go to any of the major podcasting platform and you should be able to find that there. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.